Today on Top Shelf Sports, we'll recap the football team's overtime thriller against Eastern Michigan. We'll see if one of our reporters has what it takes to be an NIU gymnast. And we'll find out which student-athlete goes above and beyond in this week's Leader of the Pack. Top Shelf Sports starts now. Welcome to another episode of Top Shelf Sports. I'm Austin Hanson.
And I'm Nicole Ryan. It's been a busy week in the sports world as we'll take a look at the latest in NIU and nationwide coverage.
But first, let's kick it off with some Husky football. The Eastern Michigan Eagles flew into DeKalb for a MAC football matchup last night, looking to knock off the 5-2 Huskies. Eastern took a quick 14-point lead, but the Huskies would battle back. Early in this one, Marcus Childers finds a speedy DJ Brown for a touchdown. Brown led the game in receptions as well as receiving yards. Later, Childers finds the rumbling tight end Shane Wyman for another passing touchdown. The Huskies special teams got into this one too, as they blocked this punt in the second quarter and a crucial field goal that would have put Eastern up 3 with under 3 minutes to go. In overtime, Husky running back Marcus Jones wins this game with a determined run up the gut. NIU goes to Toledo for a big conference matchup next week. Now joining us at the desk is the Northern Star beat writer from the NIU football team, Ryan Ostry.
Ryan, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having us, guys.
So what are your thoughts on yesterday's win?
Yeah, what an exhilarating win, right? I mean, 4-0 in conference, 6-2 on the season. I think that the defense played relatively okay. I think that the offense stepped up in the fourth quarter and overtime when they needed to. But the penalties really killed them for the whole game. They had over 70 yards, but it was a close win, but I think that they can learn from this and get better for the next week's game.
Right, so can you talk a little bit about Shane Wyman stepping up?
Right, his sixth score of the year, all-time leader in receptions in NIU history. He's a security blanket for Marcus. 6'4", 250 pounds, great big tight end, very vertical downfield threat. So he's really stepping up when he needs to.
So what would you say about the quarterback situation in Childers and in that area?
Yeah, it's been kind of a carousel this whole year, right? There's been Ryan Graham, Daniel, Marcus, but I think that Marcus has definitely stepped up in the past couple weeks. He's had no turnovers. He has a very high completion percentage, 2 touchdowns this past game, over 200 yards, and he's really taken the bull by the horns and stepped up as the leader of this team.
What are your thoughts on Toledo?
7-1, they lead the conference. I think that they are the biggest threat to NIU for the MAC championship game. They're led by Logan Woodside. He has over 2,300 yards, 19 touchdowns, All-American candidate. So I think this will definitely be the toughest game of the year so far.
All right, thank you very much for joining us, Ryan.
Thank you for having me.
The volleyball team is coming off an upset conference win against the top-seeded Western Michigan University Broncos on Wednesday. NIU got above 500 in the conference play for the first time this season with a 6-5 MAC record. Freshman outside hitter Kaylee Martin had a game-high 26 kills, while freshman outside hitter Jory Radke added 12 kills. NIU has won 3 of its last 4 matchups, and they are hoping to qualify for the MAC championships in November. The Huskies are back at home Saturday against the Miami Redhawks. First serve is set for 7 p.m.
The women's cross-country team heads to the MAC championships this weekend. The team is coming off a 5th-place finish at the Illini Open on October 20th. Lead runner Michaela Height led the Huskies with a 16th-place finish in the 5K, while freshman Bryn Barlett finished 22nd. The Huskies travel to the MAC championship tomorrow in Miami.
We were able to speak with cross-country head coach Adrian Meyers about the upcoming MAC tournament this weekend.
Let's send it over to our reporter Tom Burton, who's with him now in the newest edition of Husky Corner.
Thanks, guys. Now we are joined on set by cross-country head coach Adrian Meyers, the biggest Husky fan of them all. How you doing, Adrian?
Very good. I appreciate you guys having me here today.
Not a problem. So what are you guys' thoughts on the season thus far and heading into the MAC tournament this week?
Yeah, no, things have gone really well. I would say as expected. We have 10 freshmen on the roster this year. Right now traveling to the championships. Out of the 9 we can travel, 6 are freshmen. So with that said, we're a young team. We're doing a good job of carrying the torch from last year where our program finished 2nd. So high standards to uphold, and the young group came here with the intentions of doing that.
So with the freshman talent, you said that 5 of them are going to be going to the MAC tournament?
Correct, yes, 5, yep.
So what are your thoughts on kind of like the future of the program after this year, given that you guys have freshman talent now?
Yeah, no, I think we've put together a class that over the next 3 years can take a shot at making the national championships, and arguably one of the most talented classes in the Midwest region, one of the best in the country. And they've stepped up immediately. And I challenged them at the beginning of the year to grow up, not in the sense of not believing in Santa Claus anymore, but grow up as in making good decisions. Yeah. Cutting every corner you can to get a little bit better by means of eating right, sleeping right, hydrating, just all the little things you got to do to be successful in this sport. So they've taken that charge on and have been very successful so far.
So you guys, you said that you previously were ranked kind of low in the polls originally. You guys have had success recently in the MAC and maybe a little bit more respected in the MAC.
Correct. So when I came over here, NIU had finished on average 11th for the last 20 years in cross country for the MAC, and last year we were able to finish 2nd, and this year we started the preseason poll number 2, so the highest ranking ever. And it's exciting because we graduated half of our top 9 last year and replaced them with freshmen, and we're still doing just as well. So that goes to show that the future's bright for the program.
Is there anything about like NIU that makes them different from everybody else, just like in particular to you?
Yeah, no, I mean, for me, a lot of it's just that kind of homegrown feel where a lot of the athletes are local, at least within our program and a lot of programs here, a lot of suburban athletes. And I think that when you wear a uniform that's local to your region and you represent where you grew up, represent your coaches, your family, all those things you wear with a little more pride than if you were in California or Florida or anything like that where you don't have that connection, and I think that there's a sense of pride you get in representing the northern part of Illinois and the Chicagoland area and the suburbs, which is just rich with athletic tradition and athletic talent. So I think to be a part of that is a pride, a point of pride, and I think they should wear that with a point of pride, and it's exciting to be a part of that.
Definitely. Well, it's great to have you as a coach here at NIU, and we appreciate you coming on our set here today.
Thank you. I appreciate you guys. You guys do a tremendous job, so thank you.
No problem. And that'll do it for here to us, guys. Let's send it back to the desk.
Women's soccer struggled to get its offense going on a windy day at the soccer complex. The Huskies played against the wind in the first half and had very few offensive opportunities. The Broncos scored in the 60th minute for the 1-0 lead and spoiled the Huskies' regular season finale. Despite the loss, the Huskies locked in the 7th seed in the MAC tournament and will face Ball State Sunday in Muncie, Indiana.
Men's soccer looks to get its first conference win of the season tomorrow against the Bowling Green Falcons. The Huskies lead the all-time series against the Falcons with 17 wins, 9 losses, and 2 draws, but NIU has not won a game since September 15th against the Omaha Mavericks. The Huskies have just 1 match remaining in their season after tomorrow. When we talk about athletic families, LeVar, Lonzo, and the rest of the Ball family are usually the ones who come to mind.
Top Shelf Sports reporters Crystal Megan and Kobe Price got a chance to catch up with not 1, but 2 soccer players that share more than just a spot on the field.
The NIU soccer community is experiencing a special occurrence. After graduating from Plainfield North High School, Megan Donnelly has followed her brother Drew Donnelly's footsteps as a goalkeeper at NIU. Playing the same position as Drew isn't odd for Megan, as she was destined to do it from a young age.
Drew, me, and my other brother, Colin, he's the oldest, we all played soccer. Colin's a forward, and Drew then became a goalkeeper. And my coaches knew Drew was a good goalkeeper, and then they saw how tall I was, and they're like, okay, well, you must be like your brother. So they threw me in the position, and since like 8 years old, I've been playing it.
Even though Drew is a senior and Megan is a freshman, the journey to NIU athletics has brought them closer together. Megan got her first start a couple weeks ago against Kent State. Her talent is prevalent, and Drew has known this for a while.
I mean, I think Megan, she has the potential to do incredible things as a soccer player. And I've always loved watching her play because she has so much technical and physical ability as a goalkeeper. I think she could take her game way farther than I could. She has a ton of potential to be an incredible goalie and really make an impact on this program.
Their parents didn't see this happening, but it is a welcomed reality. They're happy for their children, remain supportive, and have key pieces of advice for both of them.
Can Megan learn from Drew? Probably better study habits. Megan brings the more social side out in Drew. Yeah. And they make a good complement each other. They make a good team.
This is their first and only year that they'll play collegiate soccer together at NIU before Drew graduates. They both had messages that they wanted to send each other.
Just always, no matter what happens, college is long, there's a lot of up and downs, but always try to remain positive and have a bright outlook on things, whether it's in school or soccer, and always just try to continue to develop and have like a growth mindset in whatever you do.
You're one of the best goalkeepers I know and one of the best people I know, and I hope you kill it this year. Thank you for everything you've done for me, and I love you so much.
From Top Shelf Sports, this has been Crystal, Megan, and Kobe Price.
Even though Drew is graduating this year, Megan will be continuing the Donnelly legacy at NIU for quite some time.
Coming up after the break, we'll see if our very own Scott Nickel has what it takes to compete with NIU Gymnastics.
And we'll hear from students on the Bears' recent success.
You made this vacation happen, cleverly merging promotions,
double points with every purchase,
and cross-referencing travel sites. Aloha! If you can ace your vacation, you can do it for retirement. Get on track with tips at aceyourretirement.org.
Listen, I realize that I'm not perfect, but it all really started to change because you judge me for having a problem. No one is going to know that I need help. I need help. I know that no one is going to judge me for having a problem. I realize that I'm not perfect, but it all really started to change because you listen.
The men's golf team wrapped up play at the Pine Tree Intercollegiate and finished 5th place. Junior Thomas DeMarco and redshirt senior Ju Young Lee led the way with 8th place finishes at 1 over par. This was the team's best finish in the fall season, and they will go back into winter training. The season continues at the Jackrabbit Invitational March 9th at Boulder Creek Golf Club in Boulder City, Nevada.
Top Shelf Sports reporter Scott Nickel had the opportunity to tumble with the NIU Gymnastics team, testing his skills on the mat.
We'll see if Scott was able to hold his balance with these gymnasts.
The women's gymnastic team was kind enough in allowing me to participate in one of their practices ahead of their November 18th inter-squad meet. I will admit, I'm not the most nimble fellow, but I was willing to give anything the old college try. Well, almost anything. I was confident with how things were going so far, mainly because I hadn't injured myself yet. Then, it was time for the khakis to come off and get down to business. After watching the girls do a couple of their routines on the uneven parallel bars, it was my turn to give it a go. And, as you can see, I basically nailed it. Whoa. Then it was on to the beam, where apparently you have to complete quite a few difficult stretches with ankle weights to keep you light on your feet before even stepping onto the beam itself. To say I struggled through the stretches would be an understatement. But then it was time to showcase my skills on the beam. Once I was able to get up there. After a quick walkthrough to ensure my balance was impeccable, it was time for the grand finale.
Better than expected.
For Top Shelf Sports, I'm Scott Nickel.
Let's just say Scott probably won't be trying out for gymnastics anytime soon.
The wrestling team is hosting the season's first red versus black match on Friday. They're coming off one of their more successful seasons in school history, and they're looking to continue the momentum. Sophomore Brock Hudkins is entering the season as the #1 ranked wrestler in the Mid-American Conference. The first match will be at Iowa State on Saturday, November 4th.
The World Series is off to a memorable start.
And the NBA, NFL, and NHL seasons are in full swing.
We now head to the Sports Hub with Eric Martin, who has more on the latest in national sports.
Game 3 of the World Series will be going down at Minute Maid Park in Houston tonight. Game 1 was a pitcher's duel, as Clayton Kershaw put to rest any questions of him not being a playoff performer. Dallas Keuchel hung with Kershaw, but made 2 bad pitches, leading to Dodgers home runs from Chris Taylor to lead off the game, and then Justin Turner to put it away. After taking Game 1, the Dodgers had some questionable bullpen strategy in Game 2, leading to a slugfest. A World Series record for home runs led to an extra inning thriller. 8 home runs were smashed between both teams over 11 innings. A 2-run dingер from George Springer put the Astros ahead for good, as they took the game 7-6 in 11. Lance McCullers will take the mound for Houston Astros in Game 3, and trade acquisition Yu Darvish will have the ball for LA. Chicago Bulls look to get their first win of the season at the United Center against the Atlanta Hawks last night. Lauri Markkanen came out big as he scored 11 of his 14 points in the second half, including a nasty dunk early in the third quarter. It wasn't done there, as Markkanen then drove by Atlanta's Mike Muscala to score a left-handed layup to help the Bulls go up 47-44. Moving to the final 2 minutes, where Robin Lopez hit the cutting Justin Holiday, the bullet pass to put Chicago up. With the Bulls being up by 1 with a minute to go, Jerian Grant passed the ball to an open Markkanen, the marksman, for a clutch 3-pointer to put away the game as Chicago wins 91-86. Chicago Blackhawks took their first ever franchise trip to Vegas to face off against the Las Vegas Golden Knights. Early in the first, while shorthanded, John Hayden steals the puck off of an aggressive forecheck, skates down and squeezes it through the goalie for the first goal of the game. 30 seconds later, while on the same power play, Colin Miller sends a pass along the blue line to William Karlsson, who blasts a rocket past Crawford to tie the game a couple minutes later. Thomas Nosek skates down and fires a shot at Crawford. The puck unluckily bounces off his shoulder and slowly slides into the goal to give the Knights the lead. Moving on to the last minutes of the second, with Nosek now working the puck behind the net, and will eventually find Pierre-Edouard Bellemare camping out between the dots and puts Vegas up by 2. Moving on to the third, the Golden Knights are on a power play again. After passing around, Nate Schmidt will find Jonathan Marchessault in the circle, snipes one over Crawford's shoulder. Kane will get a late goal, but it will not be enough as the Golden Knights win 4-2 and improve to 7-1 on the year. The Bears now have won 2 straight games after getting a win against the Carolina Panthers at home on Sunday. The Bears defense arguably had their best game of the season by causing Cam Newton to turn the ball over 3 times. Rookie safety from the University of Alabama, Eddie Jackson, caused 2 of the 3 turnovers by returning a fumble and an interception, both 75-plus yards for a touchdown in the first half. Mitch Trubisky only completed 4 of 7 passes for 107 yards. Trubisky's longest completion was to Tariq Cohen for 70 yards. The offense of the Bears will need to step up their next game on Sunday, as they will have to keep up with Drew Brees and the New Orleans Saints in the Superdome. We were able to catch up with a few students on campus to hear what they had to say about the Bears' recent success.
These last 2 games really showed what they're made of. So I think that they have a pretty good chance of ending up above 500. Maybe right at 500 is realistic, but I definitely think it's going to be a winning season for sure.
Well, at first with Mike Glennon at QB, it was kind of disappointing. You know, he had like 8 turnovers in 3 games, but once Trubisky got in there and the defense started showing up, it's really taking a turn for the better. You know, they look like potentially a playoff caliber team.
Sports Hub, I'm Eric Martin. Back to you guys at the desk.
When we come back, we'll find out which student athlete is setting their team up for success in this week's Leader of the Pack.
And we'll show you our top 5 plays of the week.
You made her college years possible. Opening that education savings account when she was little, spearheading campus tours, and deciphering financial aid. If you can ace planning for college, you can do it for retirement. Get on track with tips at aceyourretirement.org. You made your house a reality. Homeschooling yourself on loans, color-coding listings, and flushing every toilet in a 20-mile radius. If you can ace house hunting, you can do it for retirement. Get on track with tips at aceyourretirement.org.
Hey, look, it's those guys. Are you good to drive?
I'm fine.
How many did you have?
I should be fine.
You should be.
Go and step out of the vehicle for me.
See ya, buddy. Good luck.
So turns out, buzz driving and drunk driving, they're the same thing, and it costs around $10,000. So not worth it.
Every year, 40% of all food in the U.S. never gets eaten.
40%. That's almost half the food we produce.
Food waste is a serious problem. It impacts all of us.
And it's expensive. Your family is throwing $1,500 a year in the trash.
We're working hard to put food waste on the chopping block.
And you can do the same at home.
Learn how to cook it, store it, and share it.
Just don't waste it.
Go to SaveTheFood.com.
With a team full of freshmen, a strong leader is important to help set them up for success.
Top Shelf sports reporter Mateo Avila had the chance to catch up with NIU volleyball player Chandler Kinley for this week's Leader of the Pack.
NIU senior setter Chandler Kinley has taken on a leadership role with the volleyball team this season after helping them win the MAC championship last year. The volleyball team underwent some changes during the offseason and added 6 freshmen to the roster. Through last season's championship success, as well as her veteran presence, Chandler has gained a solid understanding of what leadership is to her.
For the sport of volleyball, I think my definition of a leader is someone who can get all 14 of our players, so our whole team on the same page before the game and then keep us on the same page throughout the game. A lot of people look for a leader just because we need control of the court at some aspect, so just having control of everything that's going on and trying to help all my teammates out at the same time.
At the setter position, Chandler is the coach on the floor, and she uses that to not only motivate her teammates and help keep them focused, but to be vocal with them by taking tips from head coach Ray Gooden and expressing those key points throughout the game.
Our setter is our quarterback, and so she's the one where a lot of things go through her. She has the most number of contacts when we play on the volleyball court. So the more in tune we are with each other, the more in tune she can be with the rest of the team.
After early season struggles, the volleyball team has picked up their play late in the season as they make a playoff push. Some reasoning for the team's turnaround was Chandler's emphasis on team bonding and friendship to help build some team chemistry with all the new faces.
I kind of get called the mom most of the time, but we like to do dinners at my apartment, so we make lasagna sometimes and we all hang out, or we celebrate birthdays really heavily on our team. So if it's someone's birthday, we usually get together and hang out. So just keeping us together, it's important to be friends off the court as well as best we can.
Chandler's experience, as well as her commitment to her team both on and off the volleyball court, leave her as this week's Leader of the Pack. For NTC News, I'm Mateo Avila.
Chandler also demonstrates excellence in the classroom, as she, along with NIU quarterback Marcus Childers, were named NIU Scholar Athletes of the Week.
The top 2 U.S. MMA promotions both hosted fights last Saturday.
And the UFC has one more upcoming this weekend. Adam Carr takes it down in this week's MMA Discussion.
After a few slow weeks of MMA, the action has been picking up recently. Let's not waste any more time and jump right into the cage. Donald Cowboy Cerrone was the clear favorite when taking on Darren Till, but it didn't take long to realize that the bookies were wrong. Cerrone, long known to be a slow starter, was tagged early and often out of the gate by Till. After a big elbow strike, Cerrone would turtle up and the Swede continued to unload until the referee stepped in. Till takes the TKO, and all signs point to the next step being a fight against Platinum Mike Perry, as the two men have been trading words online and in person for weeks now. Jumping back to Bellator, Gegard Mousasi's debut is in the books. Alexander Shlemenko quickly closed the right eye of Mousasi, forcing the Dreamcatcher to rely much more heavily on his ground game, and for the first 2 rounds he was able to do just that. By the third, however, Shlemenko was able to stuff some shots and land strikes on the vision-impaired Mousasi. The fight really came down to who won the first, and the judges gave it to the debuting Armenian assassin. Also on the card, fan favorite Heather Hardy got absolutely bludgeoned by the professionally debuting Christina Williams. Look at this kick. Ah! And she takes the fight by doctor stoppage. Bellator may just have a female star in their hands. Let's jump back over to the UFC to preview tomorrow's UFC on Fox Sports 1 card. Former UFC light heavyweight champion Lyoto Machida returns from a 2-year suspension for PEDs as he takes on contending middleweight Derek Brunson. Machida is about as unique of a striker as you will find in MMA. His patient karate approach has led to some spectacular one-punch knockouts. The power and technical ability of Machida cannot be denied, but his age, however, can be questioned. At 39 and coming off of 2 stoppage losses, this may be his last run at the top. Brunson snapped a 2-fight losing streak with a first-round knockout over Dan Kelly. 13 of his 17 wins have come by some form of stoppage. His speed and youth may be the deciding factor in this fight, but he has to watch out and make sure he does not get timed and slept by Machida. I know I will be setting some time aside to catch the return of the Dragon. I am Adam Carr, and this has been your MMA Discussion. Let's send it back to Austin and Nicole.
One of the favorites to win the NASCAR championship has been eliminated.
Let's send it to the garage with Brandon Morocco, who has more on the story.
The race at Kansas had huge impacts on the playoffs. It was one of the most thrilling races of the season. So let's see who's still in and who is out. The story started the night before the race. Jim Watson, a fabricator for Furniture World Motorsports, had a heart attack and passed away. The teams of Martin Truex Jr. and Eric Jones decided to go on with the race on Sunday. On Sunday, it was Truex who led the field to the green. Things were going smoothly until Truex was given a pass-through penalty after a lap 30 restart where he went below the white line. And perhaps the biggest story of the day came with 2 to go in stage 1. Kyle Larson, who has been one of the most dominant cars all season, with 4 wins, blew an engine. Larson was in second place heading into Kansas. After the blown engine, he was below the cut line. So this was the first engine failure of Larson's full-time career. Fast forward to stage 3, the man sitting on the bubble, Jimmy Johnson, spins but doesn't hit anything. The team surfaced the car, and then soon after the restart, Johnson spun again. He hit the wall, but not hard enough to do any real damage. So that means things were looking good for Matt Kenseth. With Larson and Johnson both below the cut line, Kenseth was on the bubble. On lap 199, though, there was a huge crash involving Eric Jones and Daniel Suarez on the backstretch. Playoff driver Jamie McMurray was taken out in it, and Matt Kenseth sustained some damage. Kenseth went down pit road to fix the damage, but there were 7 people working on the car. NASCAR allows 6 members to work on the car only, so that means NASCAR disqualified Matt Kenseth, ending his playoff run. Johnson was able to squeeze by through the wreck and avoid any more damage. Back at the front, Truex had fought back from the penalty and an unscheduled pit stop for a loose wheel to take the lead. Truex took home the emotional win the day after Watson's passing. Watson had led the car through inspection the day before, and Truex had led the car to victory lane on Sunday. So the 4 drivers eliminated from the playoffs were Ricky Stenhouse Jr., Jamie McMurray, Matt Kenseth, and surprisingly, Kyle Larson. This weekend starts the final race before Homestead. NASCAR heads to Martinsville, Virginia. It's the shortest track, and it always brings out a lot of excitement. Look for Kyle Busch to do good here. He almost won in the spring. He wants to punch his ticket to Miami. And as we saw this weekend, you can never count out 7-time champion Jimmy Johnson, who has listed this as a must-win. And as always, anything can happen. As we saw with Larson being eliminated, you're never safe unless you actually win. So from the garage, I'm Brandon Morocco. Let's send it back to the desk.
Thanks, Brandon. I don't know about you, Austin, but I'm so excited for my favorite part of the show.
Oh, yeah. Let's send it over to David Sivia for insight on fantasy football and, of course, the top 5 plays of the week.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me. In Week 8 of the NFL season, I know you're looking for some fantasy tips, and I got them for you. The quarterback this week to look out for is the red-hot Carson Wentz. The second-year QB has been untouchable this year and is looking to keep it going against the San Francisco 49ers. Expect a huge game from Wentz. The running back that you want to take a lock in on this week is Jordan Howard for the Chicago Bears. Since Mitch Trubisky has taken over as starting quarterback, the Bears have ran Jordan Howard 80 times since getting the starting nod. So John Fox, head coach of the Chicago Bears, will give Howard a heavy workload to help take the pressure off their rookie quarterback. Finally, the wide receiver looking to have a huge week is A.J. Green of the Cincinnati Bengals. Green has had a favorable matchup going into this week against a suspect Indianapolis Colts rush defense. Look for a huge week from A.J. Green and the Cincinnati Bengals as a whole. And from there, we're going to go into the top 5 plays of the week. So let's get this stuff started. There was a lot of plays here, so here are the eye-popping, spectacular plays of the last 7 days. At number 5, we stay here at NIU for defensive end Sutton Smith, who must be hungry as Smith gobbles up the Bowling Green State running back and takes the strip back for 6. Smith is adding to his impressive All-American campaign. At number 4, we go to the NFL, where Matt Moore throws it up to Kenny Stills, who just tries to burn his defender. Stills bobbles, and comes down with it. Although the ruling on the field was incomplete, a challenge overturned it, and Stills got the reception. At number 3, we go to Philadelphia, where quarterback Carson Wentz is waiting for the snap. He takes it, and he feels the pressure right away as the Washington Redskins defensive line gets to him in a hurry. But this is where you wrap up, you make sure he's down, which they don't. He scrambles for a 15-yard completion and the first down. Wentz with the best Houdini impression he has. Now we go to UCLA running back Bolu Olorunfunmi, climbs the ladder and the Oregon defender to get his way into the end zone. Bolu showing off his bunnies. And at number 1, we go to the NBA as rookie Jordan Bell goes off the glass to himself for the thunderous slam. Bell was also fouled on the play. The Rook did it so well that it brought all the All-Stars to their feet, even got Kevin Durant's jaw to drop. So that's all I got for you guys today. I'm going to send it back over to the desk. Thanks for joining us, and always go Huskies.
Wow, what a dunk by the Rook.
You're a huge Warriors fan, aren't you?
Oh, huge. It was beautiful. Top Shelf Sports is produced and directed by students here at Northern Illinois University.
For more on Top Shelf Sports, like us up and look us on Facebook. Be on the lookout for our various podcasts on SoundCloud. And you can also check out our Twitter site at @TopShelf_NIU to keep up with the latest sports content.
We want to thank you all for joining us. And as always,
go Huskies!